Welcome back to the Bad Bookers podcast, and welcome back to a review. Um, I know there hasn't been any reviews recently, just because I'm busy doing work and whatnot. So I haven't had time to, like this week. I didn't watch NXT on Wednesday. I didn't watch 205 Live. Didn't really watch Raw or SmackDown. So no way I could have got reviews out. But I did watch quite possibly one of the greatest WWE events of modern time. NXT Takeover Chicago. Fantastic evening. Fantastic evening. There was 5 matches, and you could say 3 of them were um, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say all 3 were 5 star, but they're definitely up there, and they're all very good matches. The other 2 were decent, they were good, but not up to the scratch of the other 3, in my opinion. But we'll start off with the first match of the night. That's what usually happens, and we had the Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch in the NXT Tag Team titles, and this was an absolutely fantastic match. This was a great opener to the evening. Undisputed Era retained, which, like, unless something major happens, unless another one of them gets injured or something, I don't think they're going to lose the titles anytime soon. But Lorcan and Burch looked really, really good. They looked properly strong. They put on that much of a performance, even though they lost. Chicago gave them a standing ovation at the end of the match, which fantastic. It's nothing more than they deserve. They put on a fantastic show. There was one bit where I think it was Oney Lorcan was on the top rope, and Kyle O'Reilly pushed him off the top rope, and he landed like the middle of his spine across the edge of the apron from the top rope. And like, if it was a normal person, they would have had a broken back. And 2 minutes later, he was up and walking and doing moves again. It was insane. But yeah, Undisputed Era retained. Like I said, fairly predictable, but very, very good match. Very good opener. Both teams looked strong. Undisputed Era looked crafty as ever. Adam Cole was at ringside, but he got ejected for saving the match for them. He pulled O'Reilly off. He was getting pinned, and he managed to put him out the ring. And he got kicked out of the match for that. It's fair enough. The crowd were. It was the first time in a while that I've seen genuine heat for the ref for ejecting someone, ejecting like a manager or something. It was good. The second match that we had, the match that everyone was waiting for, Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream, and it did not disappoint. It was fantastic. Dream looked athletic as anything. Like, he was doing Ricochet's flips over the ropes and doing Ricochet's movesets. Also, Ricochet came out in a Prince Puma styled leggings, which, if you don't know who Prince Puma is, it was Ricochet down in Lucha Underground in Mexico. And if you haven't been keeping up in their Twitter game, you would have. I think everyone thought he was going to wear a mask, but the what's it called? Prince Puma style tights were great. And he had like bottom half of Prince Puma, top half was Hulk Hogan. It was a really weird match. I don't know why it's Hulk Hogan. I assume Hulk's on his way back, because they wouldn't have let Dream put Hogan attire on and acting like all the muscle flexing and whatnot. They wouldn't have let Dream do that without Hogan coming back, maybe. But I'm not too sure in what capacity he's going to come back in. But this match, like I said, was fantastic. The 2 matches of the evening, back to back, quality matches, absolutely quality. Ricochet picked up the win, but Dream looked as good as he always does. He's 22. He's 2 years younger than me. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Next up, we had the women's title match between Shayna Baszler, the champion, and Nikki Cross. This was an alright match. It wasn't as good. It was like on par as the previous two matches, but it was still a good match, solid match. Shayna retained, but Nikki Cross looked as crazy as anything. The ending of the match was Shayna had her in the coquina clutch, or whatever she calls it, and before Nikki could fade away, she didn't tap, she let herself pass out, but before she could pass out, she just let off a really big smile from ear to ear, almost laughing, and then she faded away, and Shayna picked up the win, which is fine. I hope Nikki Cross stays in the title picture for a little bit longer, because I think she deserves a little bit of a title run. Before maybe they might have plans to put her up with Sanity when Sanity finally come up onto the main roster. Don't know. No idea. We then had, Shayna retained there. We then had Lars Sullivan versus Aleister Black for the NXT title. Now this is a good match. There was one horrendous botch. Aleister Black went for the Black Mass and completely missed. But then Lars, you remember when like Jeff Hardy hit the Whisper in the Wind at Greatest Royal Rumble, I think it was, and then Jinder sold it even though Jeff was about 5 feet away from him. It was a bit like that. It was such a good evening. That was so glaring, and it was just like, oh, how? Like, if that hadn't happened, it would have been a really, really good match. But it was still a good match. It's just annoying how this happens, and like you could clearly see, like literally nowhere near him. But these things happen. Aleister Black retains. He had to hit 2 Black Masses on Lars. You know, make Lars look strong. He's a monster type, so you gotta hit a double finisher on him. Simple as that. Makes him look strong. Keeps Aleister Black looking as strong as champion. Yeah, no qualms about that. Aleister Black retains the main title on NXT, and then the main event we had Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano 2, and it was better than the first one. The first one was my match of the year in WWE. I haven't seen any New Japan stuff this year, so I'm not going to count them. But for me, the first Ciampa Gargano was match of the year. This one tops it and some. It was a fantastic fight, and I put on Twitter as well. It was a fantastic street fight. No blood at all. The storytelling in it was just unbelievable. I don't know how you can have writers on NXT and storytelling and whatnot, and then up on the main roster there's just sometimes none, like no storytelling whatsoever. But what can you do? Ciampa won by DDTing Gargano onto the exposed ring mat. So earlier in the match, Ciampa had cut the ropes for the ring mat and stripped it back, so you just got like the planks of wood. I hadn't seen it before. Apparently it has been done before, but I've never caught it, never seen it before. But yeah, DDT'd him right onto the wood and won the match 1, 2, 3, and it was just so good, absolutely fantastic. Man, there was too many standout moments for me to like reel them off. There was the one where Ciampa spat on Gargano's wedding ring. Gargano did the I don't know what they called it. They called it last night, but Gargano put Ciampa for a table, you know, where they both jump off, and they had no cushion. It was table, concrete floor, and the table didn't offer any cushion at all, and you could hear the thud of the concrete floor and Ciampa's head connecting. It was quite grim. I'm trying to think what Ciampa got put in handcuffs near the end of the match, so he did the DDT in handcuffs, which quite impressive. And what was that? Gargano used his belt on Ciampa, whipping him across the back with the crowd saying "You deserve it." Fantastic. They had a stop sign in one of Gargano's smiley face sign in the crowd, and a ginger bloke shouting to Ciampa that he was the devil. That was great. But yeah, there was just so many top moments. I honestly thought nothing would beat this year anyway. Nothing would beat the first at New Orleans, and this has topped it. And like I said, it topped it by a distance as well. By a distance, I think. Obviously, if you know the feuds and you know all the little storytelling, you don't. To be fair, you don't have to watch NXT weekly to kind of know the ins and outs, because they tell the story so well. You don't have to watch it week in, week out to kind of know. You get what I mean? But it was just unbelievable storytelling. Like I said, I don't know how they can do that on NXT, but not on the main roster. But talking about main roster, we have got Money in the Bank later on as I'm recording this. I was going to do this earlier, but just didn't have time. This is the time that I'm doing it. Shut your mouth. But yeah, NXT. Each takeover is just getting better and better, and it's unfair. It's unfair on the main roster to have just these good quality like consistently good quality takeovers as well. It's completely unfair. Completely the talent they got as well. Like, imagine, they had Keith Lee in the crowd. Keith Lee, like one of the greatest big men on the independent circuit. If you haven't seen Keith Lee, he's bigger than Cassius Ohno, like wider. I don't know if he's taller. He's a big bloke, like he's a fat lad, but he's got some muscle as well behind him. He's not like all fat. He's not like old style Big Show, but he'll fly across the ring. He'll jump off top ropes. Pretty sure he does suicide dives and shit like that. He's just mad. He's a mad wrestler. Really looking forward to him coming into NXT. You probably have a feud with Cassius Ohno. I know they've wrestled a fair bit on the independent circuit, and I'll be happy with him and Cassius. Obviously, Cassius Ohno brings in most of the new lads anyway, so for their first feud. So I really can't wait for that. Just can't wait for Keith Lee to be in WWE, because he's a quality addition to an already quality roster that NXT have. But yeah, please if you like that, please leave a comment on how you saw Takeover, if you saw it any differently, if you saw it the same, if you preferred another match. Obviously, I can't get over how good Ciampa Gargano was. Unbelievable. But yeah, like, subscribe, and I shall see you again. I'm going to probably do the Money in the Bank review straight after, depends how I feel. I'm quite tired now. The plan is to go home and have a nap as soon as I finish work, and wake up just before Money in the Bank. I don't know how it's going to go. But yeah, like, subscribe, I've said it about 4 times now. And I shall see you again later for Money in the Bank. All our predictions are on Twitter @BadBookersWP. I think the scores on the doors at the moment are Chris and Matt are on 5, I'm on 4, and Smoothman is on 3. Smoothman's just terrible at predicting things. He's always last at some point. But yeah, I'll see you again for Money in the Bank later on. Thank you, and goodbye.